Hello, everyone. Welcome to Brainwaves. I'm Brandon Staglin. Thank you for watching. So, in the mental health community, we don't like to use the word crazy, and for good reason. But there come times in our lives when we face stages of reckoning. Now, with the passing of their grandmother, the five White brothers, Stuart, Marcus, James, Christopher, and Henry, have committed to doing something that many might call crazy, but for the best possible reasons. Now, these brothers have committed to training in and running in the most grueling ultra marathon I've ever heard of, the Marathon des Sables, from April 8th through 18th, 2016. And they each is running for a charitable cause in this race. Two of the brothers, James and Marcus, are running for a mental health cause, each for a different charity in this cause. And they're here with us today to discuss their family's amazing, inspiring endeavor. So, James and Marcus, thank you so much for being with us on Brainwaves today.
It's a pleasure, Brandon. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely, yeah. Great to see you guys. So, can you tell our viewers, what is the Marathon des Sables and what has motivated each of you to participate in it together?
Can we go first?
You go.
Marathon des Sables is coined the toughest foot race on earth. It's a ultra marathon, as you said, Brandon, 255 kilometers across the sub-Saharan desert over 6 days. And what's incredible about the race is that you have to carry all your own food and equipment for the 6 days, and you're rationed water over each stage of the race. So really it's about survival, it's about mental agility and tenacity. And we're lucky enough to be doing it as five brothers together.
Amazing. I can't imagine, what that will be like to run there. I believe that this experience has been and will be for you a great bonding experience for your family since you're all doing it together. How would you say it's brought the five of you closer so far?
It's as five brothers, we actually live in three separate continents. So three of the brothers, Stuart, Christopher, and Henry, live in the UK, in London. I live in Sydney, Australia, and James is in San Diego in the US. So obviously different time zones, a long way apart. And we haven't, we're obviously not together at the moment. What we found over the last sort of 4 or 5 months training is that we've set up a WhatsApp account, Instagram. We've actually been talking a lot more, or putting more in the last 3 or 4 months than we have in the previous 10 years. And not necessarily just about the race, but just sort of connecting with each other. And what we're finding as well is, especially for the guys in the UK, they've been going on quite a lot of their long runs together. So as a family, you know what it's like, you sort of busy, work sort of demands all the time and weekends with the family. What they've been finding is they've actually spent so much more time together just running and chatting. So they feel like they've already connected so much more in the last sort of 3 or 4 months. So even before the race has started, I think we've developed that sort of connective tissue more than we have before.
That's fantastic. And has that been a primary motivator for your family to run it, is to get more close together, do you think? And what other motivations have you had?
Part of it was our grandma passing, and one of her wishes was the family to stay close and well connected. And being on 3 continents, that's difficult. So this has given us an opportunity to connect with each other on many different levels, not just the race, as Marcus was saying, but through social sharing, pictures of our families. The motivation for me was inspired actually by Marcus a couple of years back. He is a Ironman extraordinaire. He asked me to race this probably 3 years ago, and I had no intention of doing it whatsoever. But as I got into Ironmans here in San Diego, it became more of a realistic option for me. And we discussed it over the next couple of years. And then with grandma passing, we discussed whether to be a part of it. And Mark quite out said, yes, we should. It should be something that we do as a collective to really honor her and then inspire others to do things that they normally wouldn't think about or necessarily think they could do. So part of the story, and I think part of the intention here, is to really get people to think about what's possible. We're not suggesting that people need to run the Sahara to meet any of their desire, but think about what they could do to achieve something a little bit outside of their comfort zone, that would give them a sense of purpose and pride for themselves and their family.
Fantastic, fantastic. That's great. So in addition to these very commendable motivations, you're also running for charitable causes. And can you please describe what inspired each of you to choose the cause you're running for, and how does that influence the intensity of your motivation and or the flavor of your experience in doing it?
Yeah, so for me, I'm supporting a cause called Beyond Blue, which is a charitable organisation in Australia, and they are their motivation is to sort of defy depression and anxiety amongst people in Australia. And for me, it's definitely personal, from both myself suffering from and having suffered from depression, plus a lot of people I know. It's one of those things where people don't openly talk about it until you have depression, or you start talking about it, and then it's amazing how it unravels and you find out how many people that you know are suffering from it. So I think the stats in Australia are phenomenal. 1 in 3 people, whether it's anxiety, different levels of anxiety or depression. So it's important for me. It's important to get the message out there that it's not a bad thing to share, to talk about it, and not necessarily to. I think it's just the opening up. I think it's that you don't have to be proud not to talk about these things. So for me, it's sort of running for the cause. It's running away from depression. I also find that exercise for me is a great way to sort my head out, to clear the thoughts, get into a state of mind that is a benefit for me. So yeah, hugely important for me, both as a motivator, but also as an awareness campaign.
Awesome.
For me, this is all about awareness around mental health. Exercise is a great way to help balance yourself, nutrition, exercise, and all sorts of things. It doesn't have to be just about medication or seeking help with the medical field, but there's a lot that you can do yourself. And I started this journey probably 3 years ago, working with the International Bipolar Foundation here in San Diego. And they had a real challenge around the stigma around mental health. 1 in 4 people in the US suffer from a mental illness, and not enough is done about it to educate or to allow people to understand the tools they have at their disposal to battle it and really challenge it. And so I spent a lot of time with that organization, understanding the different types of mental illness and mental health as a whole. And for me, the organization, IMHRO, was the next step to research brain health as a way to try and pass it off before it ever happens. So there's the treating anxiety and depression and mental health. But if we could get to a step before that, which is understanding how the brain works and how we could affect the treatment before it ever happens, that for me is in a utopia. So it was really just a journey for me to reach out to your organization and ask if I could help, we could help with our charities. And the other 3 brothers are running for the guide dogs for the blind, because our grandma was pretty much blind by the time she passed. Stuart is running for Cystitis and Overactive Bladder Foundation, and Christopher for Alzheimer's. All very close to each of us, but the link here for Marcus and I is around mental health.
It's amazing you're pursuing these things and doing so well. So how can viewers learn more about and follow your run, and how can they contribute to the causes you are espousing?
We have a website, 6days5whites.com, that you can learn more about the brothers and the race. We have an Instagram feed, hashtag 6days5whites. And my charity, you can donate at www.6d5w.com, and that goes to the donation page at IMHRO.
Well, I can't wait to see how you guys do, and I really wish you the best of luck and strength and fortitude and endurance in that run. So, you're welcome. If viewers have any questions for you on the Brainwaves page after I post this video, will you be willing to answer some questions?
Of course,
Definitely.
I'd be delighted.
Okay. Thanks to you both, and best of luck to you.
Thanks, Brandon, and good luck to your cause as well, and mental awareness in general.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Take
Brandon.
care.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Marcus. Take care.